You know, on a day like today, when you have these beautiful music up here, and the way Mike plays the piano and the organ back there, and you have these kids that can't, what more is there to say? I mean, there's nothing I can really add to the spirit, because somehow life can just be what it is. That there are times when life just speaks for itself. You know, if you want to learn about religion, it's not going to come alive in a book or from some preacher. Religion is just about looking at people. Look in their eyes, listen to their voice, give people the time to tell their story. That's where God lives, and that's where God speaks. And this is you want to make Christmas special. I mean, you want to make it special for yourself, you want to make it special for your family, but sometimes we need to recapture the simplicity of what this season is all about. We were thinking about that in Sunday school because, you know, Christmas Eve is a pageant and you get together and you rehearse. And well, this year we had the Christmas program 2 weeks ago, and it was just the story. And the place was packed with goodness because the story spoke for itself. I didn't have to explain it, didn't have to do anything fancy. It just allowed the story of Jesus' birth to be. Because Christmas is not a performance. Christmas is a spirit by which we are called to live. You know, I can't remember, Judy Carlson was here. I wanted to talk about her and Roger, but she was there, so I'd rather talk behind her back. But it was like 40 years ago, I wanted to so we thought about having a live nativity. No, because you were there. Anyway, Roger Carlson was going to help me. So my job was to go to what was then called the Community Center Foundation on Southwest Highway. And I went there at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I got 2 sheep and put them in the trailer and brought them over here. And then someone else said they had an angle on a donkey. And so we had the donkey and the 2 sheep. We thought it'd be fun to give the kids little rides around the fence. And it was 8 degrees that day. And toward the end of the live nativity, one of the sheep jumped the fence. And that was before we had the worship area, so it was kind of woody back there. And so I'm sitting to myself, I'm going to owe the community center a lot of money. What does a sheep cost? But luckily, Roger went back there in his overalls, and he found the sheep, tackled it, and was holding the sheep down. And I went back there, and Roger looked at me, and I cannot tell you what he said to me. But in so many words, the clean version is this. He looked at me and says, Borling, if you ever have a live nativity again, I guarantee you I will go to Good Shepherd as fast as you can follow me. You know, it's easy to get caught up in trying to make Christmas happen. And to some extent we need to, because our family wants it and needs it. We have families out there that don't have much. We want to make something happen for them. But last night, we had some of our family over, and after everybody left, you know, the house looked like a train wreck, and I just stepped out the front door, and I sat on my little concrete slab, and I looked at the American flag that graces our front lawn. And I looked at the houses around me, and you see, it looks very peaceful, like there's a light here, and a light here, and a light here, and I just wondered, I wonder if the people behind that light in those houses, I wonder if they're at peace. I wonder how they're doing. I wonder if they're having a tough time. Because as I look at the flag, I worry so much about some of the divisions in our country, because I love our country. I love what we stand for. But sometimes people say, well, religion and all that, no. Religion is about the way we live. And religion is something that needs to bring us together. And when Jesus came in the world, he came into the world to make his world a quieter and more forgiving and a gentler place. You know, Jesus was Jewish. And he didn't come into the world to establish the Christian faith. He wanted his religion to make a difference in the ordinary lives of his followers. He wanted Jewish people to accept Gentiles. He wanted his religion to live up to the calling that God wanted it to be. Well, speaking of a live nativity, life is an incredible circle. It's a circle full of successes and failures, good times and tough times, new life and the end of life. You know that, and I know that, and many of us have lived through that. Sometimes the circle moves forward, and when it moves forward, it's kind of fun to be there. Sometimes there's bumps in the circle along the way, and then there are times when the circle moves backwards. And somehow, some way, we have to have the courage to live through that. I think of those of you who are here today who have recently lost loved ones, someone important in your life. And when that happens, sometimes the circle stops and it moves a little bit backwards, and you wonder if you have the courage to get back on the wheel. This morning I was thinking of Joel and Jen and their family who were here for the baptism. And somehow, some way, that little Jackson who died all too young was in the hearts of each one of those people, and us too. But it's in the middle of that circle, that's where Jesus lives. That's where God speaks to us. And it may not always make sense, but the good Lord is there. Friday night, we had a service here in saying goodbye to Jim Fitzpatrick, only 51 years old, and leaves behind Jennifer and their two girls. And the church was full. I've never seen so many Southwest Side blue-collar Catholics in one place in my life. The place just oozed of Mount Greenwood in the southwest side of Chicago. But it was good to be there. And so Jim's best buddy gets up at the pulpit and starts to speak. And he said before the service, "Reverend, they want me to speak. I've done it hundreds of times. I don't think I'll cry through it." My God, he blubbered his way through the entire service. I mean, he laughed and he cried and he trembled and he shook. And somehow, some way, he inspired each one of us just to accept our own humanity. In him, I saw the star, and I saw the angels. I could feel the shepherds. I saw the nativity, the flag of our country, the words of our prophets. I think of each one of you. I think of the Demquitzes who said goodbye to their little grandson not too long ago, and you're going to go see your family. Somehow, some way, that's not the way the circle is supposed to go. But it is the circle. And in the middle of that circle is a word of life and hope and goodness and grace. I'm sure we all have times where we feel like we just work in a circle and we don't really get anywhere. Well, this morning I look inside my circle and I see each one of you, not always sure where I am going, but what's inside that circle is what this time of the year is all about. Amen. If you're able to, please rise for the creed. It's on page 105.